What's up, YouTube? Welcome to G-Dub's podcast. I'm your host, G-Dub. Today I wanted to make a video talking about mindset. And how important mindset is, and how if you have the right mindset that you really can take on just about any task. All battles are won and lost in the mind. So it all starts here. So there's a couple little short clips that I wanted to watch and then touch on and just see what you guys think.
This quote by Henry Ford is so powerful. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Think about it. If you believe you can't do something, your mind will find reasons to quit. But if you believe you can, then you unlock the creativity, the resilience, the possibility to achieve anything. The difference between success and failure is often just one thing, your mindset. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, do I believe I can? Because if you don't, your mind will start looking for reasons why you can't. But if you do, then you'll find a way. You see, the power of belief is that it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you can do something, you'll find a way to make it happen. Because your mind is constantly scanning for solutions, not excuses. So next time you face a challenge, don't just think positive, think powerful. Believe in your ability to overcome any obstacle and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve.
100%. If you think you can and you think you can't, then you're right. Because like I said before, all battles are started, won, and lost right in the mind. If you don't go into things with the right mindset, if you have a negative or pessimistic mindset, that's going to be tough to get into that growth and creative flow. And so you got to be real careful about the self-talk. I know I've had to work on that personally for myself a bunch, because you do something wrong and you call yourself an idiot, and that's just normal. I think a lot of people do that, but we've got to be a little bit careful about our self-talk, because words are powerful, and sometimes our subconscious mind will start believing the words that we tell it, especially if we're saying it with such conviction. And so I try to be very careful about how I say things and how I speak about them, especially to myself. I try to leave room for creativity. I try to set expectations that I'm not going to be the best at this. One thing is for sure, we're going to learn. And so I think if you go into this with an open mindset and really a learning mindset, the mindset of a student, that there is really nothing that you can't do. I've been able to take this mindset into each area in my life and help improve where I am at and get me to that next level. So that's what's real important, I think, is the mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, then you are just, it's going to be a much harder battle. And so that's why it's really good to monitor how much screen time you're watching, what you're watching. I know back in the day, I used to love watching scary movies, but I'm kind of putting death and murder and all these crazy things into my mind as, just as entertainment. And really, I should be putting more positive things. And really, I really try to watch things that are going to help. I'm going to help learn and going to help me grow through a certain aspect in my life, because, I found that I'm going to go through it until I grow through it. And so I don't know about you, but I sleep much better at night knowing that I put in just a little bit of time trying to figure out what the next step is, or if I am, having a hard time in a certain area. I find that just doing the work and then just trying to find one little step is where you just get to that next step, and then it's gonna take you to the next step, and then you're gonna find out what you need to do, what you want to do, but you just have to get started and you have to do it. And so Henry Ford, he was basically the godfather of manufacturing. He started that assembly line, and he created a really good system for mass manufacturing vehicles. And so that was a game changer, and he had a different mindset. He completely thought about things from a different aspect than a lot of people. You have to think growth. You have to think abundance. Now, you don't have to sit there and, talk to yourself and lie to yourself, but you need to be realistic, set realistic expectations and goals, and then just, realize that you are going to stumble along the way, and that's okay. And so this next one.
Discipline your thoughts. Stop thinking too much. Don't go into the past. Don't go into the future. Be in the present. Why? Because only then it's possible that the mind is free, the capacity is free, and now you can completely immerse into whatever you are doing. And this means you have arrived.
You have to find peace in your mind. And that is why taking hikes and walks and disconnecting from the phones and really meditation is probably the best. That is the best thing that you can do for your mind. Our minds are very complex, and depending on what you eat, what you're going through, your mind could be bouncing all around. And so I think it's super important what we eat and to stay hydrated. What we put in our stomach directly affects our mind. And so if we're trying to get a growth mindset, if we're trying to work through something that's really hard, we need to give our body the nutrients it needs. And then we also need to give it rest and water. And really, you have to work on your mind. I think a lot of people don't think about it like this, but everybody wants to get better at fitness. Everybody wants to walk more, lift more, or most people would like to be stronger, in better shape. But I think a lot of people forget that your mind is a muscle as well, and you have to exercise it. And you have to exercise it reading books, there are so many different things, even certain video games and apps that are kind of like, activities and exercises for your brains. Those can help out too, but we have to remember to not forget that our mindset is also a muscle, and we have to exercise it and we have to use it. And depending on what content we're absorbing and what we're watching, that's going to directly affect our mind and how we think, and our subconscious, and how it wants to process the daily occurrences that happen in our life. And so having a peaceful mindset, trying to not overthink and just drive yourself nuts. It can be very easy. I know for me personally, I have to really do a really strong night routine every night, or I have a really hard time going to sleep. I can go to bed and I'll just be staring up at the ceiling and my mind's running 100 miles an hour. And so I've found that with eating healthy foods, with trying to get meditation in, trying to cut the screen time down before I go to bed, or at least turning the blue light filter on, so that way my brain isn't firing on all cylinders because it's being stimulated by the screens. And so it really takes a full approach to get anywhere in your life. If you're trying to break new grounds, if you're trying to, you're a new father and you're trying to raise your kids and you're trying to balance all these things, really your mindset and your diet are the most important thing. If you have a good mindset, then you can get through the hardest times. And that is super important. I don't think people touch on it enough. And so that is just why I wanted to talk about this topic as one of my videos. And so let's go on to the next one and let's just see what we got going here. Now, not all mindsets are positive and growth. You have people like David Goggins, who he almost like wrestles and beats his mind into submission, which, I think it's really it's fun to watch. I don't think it's for everybody. I think there's a delicate line, but I think you have to push yourself, and we have to try to do hard things. We have to be constantly just challenging ourselves and trying to push and go to that next level. And so he constantly does it.
You know how you get mentally tough? It's a lifestyle. Instead of hitting that fucking snooze button in the fucking morning and not making your bed, not cleaning your house, you don't hit the snooze button. You get up. You don't want to go run, you go run. You don't want to go swim, you go swim. You don't want to make your bed, you make your bed. You don't want to clean your house, you clean your house. You don't want to study, you fucking study. That's how you start to callous your mind. It's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow.
Yep, that's definitely one way to look at it, but I think it's true. I think I've heard a saying from one of my good friends that you want to wake up and you want to start your day eating your frog. Wake up and eat your frog, which basically means figure out which task you're really avoiding and you're really pushing past, like you're really just trying to stay away, to avoid it. You're trying to create excuses for it. Try to take that as one of your first tasks in the day. You have the most brain power, you have the most rest, and you can really, I find that if I wake up and do the hardest thing first in the day, it can set me up to have a really good day, because I take care of this really hard thing, and whether I complete it or at least I just start it and make progress, that is super important. But then I find that the rest of the day I can have kind of be floating on this cloud nine, a little bit of dopamine from being able to take on something that I was trying not to or trying to avoid. That's where I believe that confidence comes in. Confidence comes when you take on hard things by yourself and you struggle and you work through them. And then, once you end up finding a way to get through that, and then you can grow through it and work past it, that's where the confidence comes in. The confidence comes from taking on hard things in life on your own. Your job is going to push hard things on you. Your relationships are going to push hard things on you. Your body is going to push hard things on you. But if you can learn to take things on and kind of take pain head on, then it's just going to make you stronger for it. And I think that it can be real easy to get into a very lackadaisical and soft lifestyle. And people, if you want to get places, you're not happy where you are right now, you have to take massive action. You have to do things that you haven't been doing. You have to look and take from people who are doing what you're doing. You have to take example, advice, and different tips from them. You got to try and do different things, which will, you got to see which one works for you. It's all, just like they say, it's a game, and you just have to slowly but surely work on things. Let your mind help you get through these things. Think about them, watch YouTube videos. If you could read books or listen to audiobooks on stuff, that's huge. I know I've gone through some really big breakthroughs with myself by using audiobooks and especially YouTube channels. So this stuff is just super important. You want to start your day off right, you got to get your mindset right. It's always good, like if I can start my day off with a little prayer and then jumping right into meditation and getting my breathing in, getting all the oxygen, and really just pumping my blood all full of oxygen. And then, if I can, go for a short walk. I mean, usually I'll hit a 10 to 20 minute walk right when I wake up in the morning. And I found that really kind of sets me, gets me in the mood. It gets me off of the couch, off of the screen. And then I can actually kind of think about what I want to take care of, and I can kind of game plan the rest of my day. And so all battles are won and lost in the mind. And so it just takes a little bit of preparation and a little bit of foresight, but you can and get better at doing and accomplishing the hard things in your life. So thanks for stopping by. Once again, I'm G-Dub, and I'll talk to you guys later.